This is going to be a look at how to set up Google Sites. If you already have a Gmail account, it's super easy to add a sites to it. I honestly don't remember how because I added one a little while ago and so I missed that time or that process this time around. But once you get in, you see this screen. And my plan is to start setting up a website and then I'll probably stop recording, do some more work, and come back and show you the finished version and what the features are. Maybe not finished, maybe most of the way finished. Okay, so to start with, you have the option to create a blank site. Using a template probably makes more sense. And do realize that this template gallery up here is bigger than just those ones that you see on top. I'm going to make a website today for our various Scratch programs that we have. I think Scratch is so cool and programming with kids is so much fun. So I want a site that I can direct people to that kind of walks them through what our various things are. For that, a portfolio might make the most sense. But I'm kind of interested in what the ones for education are. Scratch seems like more of a club than a class, but let's see what the class one is because that's probably what is going to be most useful for most of the people here. So selecting the template, it's going to copy it over onto your site. It looks like it's got some stock images and some generic copywriting in there already. And then you'll just have to go in and change what you want. So let's see what this editor looks like when it gets around to loading. I should have clicked on this when I was talking about how cool I think Scratch is because I could talk about that all day. Okay. Keep your visitors informed of important news announcement banner. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So settings, mode, top or side. Okay, so that's where the navigation bar is. So right now it says class name, home schedule, newsletter. I can decide to move that to the side. And that looks like a little bit more mobile friendly where you would click on here and then the sidebar pops out. It's kind of interesting, but I honestly think I like it better as a top bar. Definitely something to play around with. I'm going to leave it white. Transparent's going to make it a little bit harder to read depending on what the image is back there. So I'm going to leave it like that so it's really clear. So we can upload a logo to add to our logo. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to put the Dig In with Tech logo up in there. I did this on the other one. You know what? I'm not going to. The last time I had to edit out me looking for things. Favicons are, you see up here, this little image. It's cool that we get to have one in there. One of the drawbacks of Wix is that it doesn't allow you to customize yours. So you can see how all those little favicons up there really let me know which site I'm talking about. That's pretty cool that it'll let me put one on there. Okay, info icon, anchor links, okay. Custom URL. So this would be if you purchased a domain, you could put in your domain there. I'm definitely not purchasing a domain though. I don't really care about that. So the announcement banner is the new thing they were showing us. I think this is in response to how many websites have added something related to COVID. And so you've probably seen that on a lot of your, on a lot of websites you've been to lately. It'll say something like, okay, I just kind of want to see what it looks like. I'm not going to include a button or a link. I think it really wants me to include a link though. Let's take it to our Scratch site. We'll go to Catch Gems. But it needs to have both a label and a link. Okay. And open in a new tab is always a friendly feature. Homepage only or on all pages. I'm going to click homepage only. Okay. A little bit bummed it didn't show up already, but it looks like it saved it. There it is. Okay, so you've definitely seen those on other sites. You click the button to go to that, or you can just, I think, leave it as text up there. Okay. So How do we change that image? Right here. I'm going to upload one of our Scratch projects from the desktop. Let's see what that one looks like. So it doesn't give me great options there. I like this adjusting for readability. I'm guessing it changes the font based on that, but I'm a little bit sad that it didn't let me pick which part of the image I wanted to put in there. So I would recommend cropping it to the size that you want it. And cropping an image is pretty easy. So layouts here, I can choose the different layouts I want. But for now, I'm going to say okay. So I can adjust this text, I'm assuming, to be a little bit smaller. Where would that be at? I can see that I can bold or italicize it. I can change what kind of text it is. But can I make it smaller? This probably clears formatting. Yeah, that's not what I want. I hit Command Z to undo for that. Control Z on a PC. That's definitely something you want to know how to do. I can make it bigger at least. That's better. It doesn't look like it's centered anymore. Am I wrong? Okay, that's centered then. Okay, so those grid lines pop up. That's not too bad. Header type, large banner, banner, title only, cover. I'm going to leave it like that. Maybe I'll noodle around with the image. So instead of class overview, I'm going to go, what is Scratch? Oops. Again, Command Z is my friend. My computer is not really happy about recording and doing this at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to put in some more images by clicking these little image links here. I think I am. Upload. I don't want to look up upload, I just want to upload. Wait, it is getting clunky today. Okay, so I saved some screenshots of our programs and I'm just going to pop those in there. They don't look like they're the same aspect ratio as these boxes, which could be an issue, maybe not. Looks like they're resizing them to fit a little bit, but I don't know how much control I have over that process. Okay, so can I arrange that within there? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I'm not happy with that. Command Z the heck back. Okay, so that's not super easy, but it's not terrible either. And then maybe I'll try to put that image in here. Okay, enough playing around with this. This is our home page, and we have home up here. Schedule and newsletter absolutely makes sense for a classroom, but not for me. So I'm going to change those here. You can add a calendar. That's nice. Where would I get my calendar from? Probably from Google. Yeah, so if you have a Google Calendar, you can just import that in here. If there was a kit associated with Scratch, I would definitely include that calendar and a link to do that, but that isn't what's here. And so let's see. Schedule. I'm on here and I'm going to change the layout. I think this is going to be my description of my various programs. So I'm going to choose this layout instead. It's got a little daily schedule in there. I don't want this to be called schedule. I want this to be programs. And I'm going to put it back to being center justified text by doing that. Okay. Now, I really want to change the name of this page so it doesn't say schedule anymore. And I'm wondering how I can do that. Schedule from pages. Make home page duplicate. Hide from navigation. None of those are what I want. If I just click on this, double click, Okay, double click. So this would be programs. And then it updates it up there as well. So knowing this is good. Hide from navigation means it's going to take it off of that top bar. And then it'll have that cross through it to show that. But I can also show in navigation and bring it back there. If I have the different program pages, I'll probably make a full page for each of them. And so let's take this newsletter page and say, I want to make it a sub page, not add a sub page. Was that an option? Probably not. Okay. What happened there? I've changed the home and the sub page just completely accidentally. It's because I'm impatient and I'm clicking on things. You probably want to just not be so impatient. So home is definitely going to be my home page. Programs is going to be next. And then in programs, I want to add a sub page. Okay, so this is going to be basic Scratch. Done. Okay, and that kept my same picture from the front page, which is interesting. Programs did not have that, but since I made a new page, maybe it sort of cloned the images from my home page. Interesting. That is kind of what I want. So now this is my basic page. It's got the bar on the top. I can choose a different image. And then how do I put some stuff down here? Oh, my footer I should probably edit too. Oh, and I think I probably want to go back to insert for this. Nope. But this is interesting. I have some options here. Edit footer. Duplicate section background. No. I just want to put some words in there, guys. Okay. Maybe I just need to put some stuff in here. Okay. I definitely want to embed something because I can embed Scratch programs on websites, which is kind of neat. If you're using Scratch with your students, you could have a website that just has all their different games or programs for a different thing. And so to do that, I'm going to go to this copy link button down here in Scratch. This program's already shared, so they need to make sure it's shared first, otherwise it won't be available on the web. So I can share with a link, or I can share with an embed code. And I'm going to try to share with the embed code. So I'm going to copy it, go back to here, and then paste in the embed code. See what happens. I'm hoping to see what I expect, but this is an interesting button down here. There may be an error in your code. Edit your code and try again. Wow, would never have thought of that on my own. Okay, it doesn't look like it's doing anything, but let's see what happens when I hit insert. Doesn't look like it's the right aspect ratio. Doesn't seem like anything's going on. Kind of a bummer. Okay, less easy than I wanted it to be. It's still thinking. And it's telling it the width and height. It's got a good source. I don't see anything that looks like it would not work. There we go. I was just being impatient again. Okay. So I am going to have to adjust this box though, because it's not totally big enough yet. I'm going to make it just a little bit wider, or longer, I guess. Which is weird because it's got a lot of white space on top. Boy, that is real slow. And it's going to do the whole thing again. So my internet's not usually this bad. I think I'm on a decent Wi-Fi network. No, I'm on one of my good ones. So maybe this is kind of a clunky site. I don't know. But hopefully this will work when we actually publish it. So I've gone over how to adjust things in the top bar, how to adjust images, how to insert new sections is something I should probably mention. So over here, I can copy this section or I can choose a section background, which might be nice to kind of set it apart from their other sections. Emphasis. Yeah, nice yellow background. And then if I want to put in a new section, I'm going to just try clicking here a bunch. Oh, when I double click, it comes up with this fun wheel where I can put in images, embed code, or upload. Not really what I want. Can I just drag in a layout section? Yeah. So over here, I can drag these in to add more sections. And then once they're over here, I can probably delete a bunch of stuff in here to adjust it to how I want. Yeah, so it's pretty flexible with its layout. And it's a little slow, which is going to make me a little crazy, but it's doable. Okay. I'm going to tool around a little bit. You can see these different options down here are pretty neat. You can put in YouTube images, calendars, maps. Look at how nicely it plays with all the Google products, right? Image carousels are fun. So that's those, if you've ever seen those sites where the image will cycle through every once in a while. I might play around with putting in one of those. And so yeah, I'll get some stuff up and running and then come back and show you some other features that I've looked at and how to get those in there, including some accessibility features. Okay, I've had some time to play around with it. It works pretty well. The Google Docs and Drive integration on it is fantastic. If you're already using that but can't use Google Classroom for some reason, I could see making one of these sites and have a page for each week in your class where you have everything laid out. You can embed YouTube videos really easily. You can put in any assignments you need students to access. And then you would just need to create a downloaded file for students who can't access the internet more than like once a week, let's say. So you could download the video you'd created, any of the documents that they need, and then just kind of put it in a zip file and be able to have them download it, which you could also host on this site. So I kind of like it. There's some things about it that are a little clunky, and I'll talk you through those, but I think it's workable. So here's what we've got. This is what I had up here before, so I think this is all pretty similar. These ones that have links go to those pages. So let's check out the Scratch Storytelling page. Oh, I don't know if it'll let me go there. That's an interesting question because the site's not published yet. No, it'll let me go there. I'm still on my side. Okay, so I've got the image in the background. I can put in these different layouts. So this top one with the image and the examples is just this top one here from the layouts menu. Pulling those in gets you more tabs. I've got the Scratch, one of the examples embedded. And then down here, I just pulled in this layout. And I have the YouTube video and the slides presentation linked here. I don't love how similar they look, but that's my fault. That's not the program's fault. Just in case there was any weirdness, I also provide a link to them underneath. So if for some reason this embedded file isn't working, they can still follow the link and get to it. So let's build a page that looks like this. To get started, I'm going to go to Pages. This is another program. I haven't done one for MathMaze yet. So I'm going to say add a subpage, and it's going to be called MathMaze. Okay, the background is the same here, so I'm going to want to change the image, and I'm going to click Upload. I've got some of them saved on my desktop. I think I have them saved on my desktop. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty cool. And then right now down here, it's blank. I love this adjusting for readability. It changes how transparent and how dark the background image is so that it makes the font more readable. Doesn't work great. I feel like it doesn't pop against this background, but that's kind of my fault for putting in something that has really high contrast behind it, so I can't really adjust it to be perfect. Okay, the first thing I want to do is embed the example. And so I'm going to click on Embed. I tried with by URL and Scratch doesn't allow that. So I'm going to go over to here, copy link, copy embed, and then I'm going to go code. It takes it a little while to update, but when it does, it looks okay. I've had issues resizing it. That's one of the clunky things I don't enjoy. I need it to be bigger so you can see it. And then I'd like it to be centered because I think it looks kind of weird over on the side like this. But then when I go to center it, it changes the size of the window. And so I have to like anticipate how small it's going to get so that I can make it bigger and have it still be centered. Not loving that, to be very honest. And I'm not sure whether this is going to work or not. That may not be Google's problem. That may be Scratch not wanting to play nicely. But still, I'm going to be sad if I spent this time putting in these embedded files and then they don't work. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to have a link to the YouTube video and a link to the documentation for this. I pulled in this one before. This one's pretty small. I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, I don't like how that looks. So if you pull in one and you don't like how it looks, just make sure you have that section highlighted, like it's outlined in blue, and then you can click delete. You can also duplicate sections and you can change the section background. So if you want it to have a yellow background or a regular background, or if you want it to be an image, those are all options you have. I can choose just YouTube down here too. Let's see what that looks like since we did something else. So NASA, nope. So hopefully, yep, there's our video. We can have this here and I can bring it into the center. Okay, now I'm also going to want a slides document, so I can do that here. And I want Math Maze. It remembered where I was. You can also click on the search and search for whatever file it is you're wanting to have. And it's just pulling slides documents when I do that. I'm going to center that again. And then I do want to make sure that I have some good text in there to kind of describe what's there and to give a backup link. So I'm going to pull in text box, just have it in between. If it didn't populate where I wanted, I can just click on these dots over here and drag it to where I want it to be. So above, okay, and then to get my link, I'm going to copy, whoop, not that one, right click or control click on a Mac, copy link address. I'm going to go back over here. If you want a shortcut for that, instead of having to click here, Command K on a Mac is what does it. I'm assuming it's Control K on a PC. And I'm using Control C and Control V to copy and paste. So this says T equals 85 seconds. That means that this YouTube video will start 85 seconds in. I can just delete that. Because you can link to sites within your own website or anything on the internet, you want to make sure that your links have this HTTPS or HTTP in front of them to signal to the site that this is an external website, this isn't a link that we're going to within our own page. Links within the page are handled in a kind of shortcut fashion, and so you need to make sure that HTTPS or HTTP is carried in there so that your links are going to work correctly. And it's always good practice to check your links before you publish or immediately after you publish. Okay, and then so for the documentation over here, I'm going to click share to get the link, copy link, and then I can just click this as well if I would rather do that. I made sure that that document was shared so that that wouldn't be an issue, and then I think this is going to look better center justified. So there we go. Okay, now that I've made this page, I'm going to go back to my home page, which is easy to navigate to up here, and then I'm going to go down to Math Maze here. I'm going to highlight this, and when I click link, you'll see that it has every page that's on this website here, so I can just easily click Math Maze, and that's what the link looks like. I can link the image as well. If I click on it one time, I get a trash can. If I click on it a second time, I get crop, uncrop, and I can insert a link as one of those options. So I definitely want the image linked as well. Once I'm here, I can also play around with, if I double click quickly, so the last time it was click, click, this time was double click, I can adjust the image and how it's cropped to get the part that I want. I can make the image larger. I can't make it smaller for some reason. I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe I can if I do this. Nope, definitely can't make it smaller. So that is what it is, but it's not terrible. I can live with that. Really important thing for accessibility on your site. This site makes it a little bit hard to get to the alt text, and alt text is a really important thing for people with low vision or who are blind, who are using screen readers to access your site. Giving an alternative description for your images will allow that to be read aloud to them. So over here, I'm going to click those ... here, and then I'm going to say add alt text. So it's a little bit hidden. Oh, and I already described this one. So I just said a simple maze with a basketball. So that's something that you can do to make your site more accessible. And it's something that you should get in the habit of doing, particularly for images that are ones that your students or your audience would have to understand to be able to understand the content. Okay, so we've done all of that stuff, which is pretty good. One thing that I'm curious about on these early ones, can I just go here? I think I can. On these early pages, I had used an embed code from Google, which is easy to get. If I want to use an embed code on a video, I would just go to that video. I don't need to watch it, but when I go to share, I can get the embed code and then copy. From here, you can decide whether you want it to start at the point that you paused it in the video. That can sometimes be helpful if you only want your students watching a short section. You can have them start at that section and then just tell them to watch, for 5 minutes or until this thing happens in the video. So I can copy the embed code like this. And then when I go to the page, what I did for, I haven't done it for this one because I don't have a video for this one, but I'll show you what I did. If you put in an embed code, you can get the YouTube in that way. You can see though, again, it's not really set up great. And this is not what I would recommend for putting YouTube videos on your site. It's much easier to go down here to the YouTube button and search for the video. I know it's not the right video. I'm going to delete it. Don't worry. Oh, there we are. Okay. And then it's correctly in there. It recognizes it as a YouTube video, and it's much easier to position without having bad things happen. So I would not recommend using that embed capture from Google or from YouTube. I would recommend doing it through here. And if there is anything in here that you can get away with using, use this instead of embedding it. It seems like it's going to work better, but I haven't published my site, so I don't know for sure. And let's go ahead and publish and see what happens. It's letting me choose my web address, and so it's showing me here. Scratch and the ERC is probably what I want. Let's see if I can get just Scratch. Kind of doubt it. Yeah, it's a great address. You're right. Okay, a custom URL is if you purchased a domain. And then who can view my site? You can change these privacy settings, I guess. Let's see about that. So that it's an internal website. So you could add it to, if you've got your whole class as a Google group, you could have that in there for just them so that outsiders couldn't access your site. That's not really what I want to do though. Who can view my site? Anyone. That's what I want. Okay. You can also request that public search engines not display your site if you don't want your site to be searchable. And then you just click publish. I imagine you can change those settings at any time. Yeah, publish settings would how you would go about it in there. Before you publish, I know I just have, but okay, before you publish, you can also preview. And they give you 3 options for preview. They'll preview on computer, preview on tablet, and preview on phone. So you can see what those look like, and they just make it pretty small here. Your navigation bar, instead of being across the whole top, now you have to click on those 3 lines to get to the menu, and you can navigate the site from there. So our site's pretty simple and easy to compress, except for these big things. So let's see. All right. I forgot to look at what our page was. View published site will get me there though. Okay. So now here's my image gallery of the different programs we have. I assume that this cycles through, but I don't know that for sure. Let's go see what Basic Scratch looks like. Okay, so this is one where I think I copied the embed code. It looks like it's working okay. You can access it here. Let's see, will it let me play? It looks like it will, but, oh, actually I'm pressing the wrong keys. So yeah, I can play my Scratch game on my website. That's pretty great. I love that a lot. It's not a bad idea to go through and check all the links on your site, make sure things are working, especially if you're working with a population that gets easily frustrated. And honestly, I think all of our students are probably in that category if they're doing distance learning. So it's important to make sure that things are working correctly. And it wouldn't be a terrible idea to do a short video of you explaining the features on your site and showing how to get to different things if this is something that you're going to be using. Like I said, I think it would be really easy to set up one page like this for each week in your class. So you have all the information and content that they would need in one place. You could embed Google Documents for their assessments where you have maybe questions that they need to answer or things that they need to do. If you're doing something like that, I might suggest making really recognizable icons that you can post next to things, just small pictures. So maybe you have an icon that means, okay, you need to read this website, and then you have the link next to it. And then you have an icon that says, okay, I want you to watch this video, and it's got the video. And then some action that says, okay, I want you to write, or I want you to do this, or I want this experiment done, so that there's like a graphic cue that says this is what you should be doing in here. I think that would be that would be what I would do if I were using a site as my main way to deliver our agenda for the week. One last thing I want to talk about is another accessibility feature. This is going to be how you can check to see how accessible your site is. So I'm in Chrome. I don't know exactly how to do this in other browsers, but this is how you do this for Chrome. So these 3 dots here, you can go down to More Tools. And from More Tools, you can go to Developer Tools. And it's going to get a little intimidating, but don't worry about it. I know my students always used to like to pull this up, and you can change the things in the code here to make it look like the website looks different than it is. It's just a goofy thing they do. It's not anything that's actually changing the website, but you know, they convinced their friends they were hackers, and that was pretty adorable. Oh, I've got a bunch of errors and warnings. That's not fantastic. I don't feel like I did anything too bad. Okay, we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to click on these 2 arrows here and go to Lighthouse. Lighthouse is where we want to be. So you can see that there are a lot of different reports that Lighthouse will generate for you. I've unchecked all of them except for accessibility. Accessibility is the thing that I want to check. And I can check for either the mobile or the desktop version. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the report. It takes a minute depending on how long it takes to go through your website. But it will give you some information on issues that your site might have that might make it more or less accessible to some people. And that's definitely something to keep in mind when you're creating content like this. Oh, it says it's almost there. Let's see. Okay, 92 is not terrible. And so down here, Best practices, these items highlight common scalable, no. Okay, I'm not sure how to fix this, but this is basically saying that there's an unscalable item that is too small, and so users can't make it larger on their end. But again, I'm not 100% sure how to do that. Past audits not applicable. Additional items to check manually. Let's see what that is. Does the page have a logical tab order? Are the interactive controls keyboard focusable? I don't actually know how to fix that, so let's look. We can learn more. Being able to not have to use the mouse and cursor and just use keys to navigate the site can be a way that some people have to access sites, and so something they keep in mind. This is like definitely more beyond my scope, but I do want to make you aware that this is something that's available as a way to check. And if this is something that your population needs, and by population, I don't just mean students if you're a teacher, but also thinking about your students' families and how well they're able to access the site. It's important to know how to get to these features and then maybe take some more time to read up. I'm getting increasingly concerned about this number going up here. I don't know what that's about, but I'm just going to close this for now. So that's there. You'll notice I added one of those favicons here. That's just like the little scratch blank avatar. So it looks different. And this is honestly going to help me when I'm editing my site, because now I know this is my live site. And these things over here are me editing within Google Sites. So just for my own sanity, this is something that's helpful there too. I did create an other resources page, so I'm just going to look at that. These are links to other curriculum for Scratch. I've got the embedded webinar and slides document. Your slides document you can page through here. You can also make it bigger, full screen, which is nice, and definitely something you would want to tell your students if you're having them use Google Slides and they don't like how small the embedded thing is. But honestly, it's best to have slides that have little text on them, like this is too much, especially for students. And so it might not be terrible to have it be small like this, to just kind of focus and remind you that the text on the slide should be limited. If you can read it in here, that's probably enough text. And then this is the YouTube video over here. I edited the footer at the end with my information. That is entirely up to you how you want to handle that. I replaced the background here with just some clip art that they had that I thought looked nice. And that's generally our Scratch site. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And the Google Sites experience was pretty frustration-free. I'm sure that there are things that you want to do that I haven't shown you how to, and if you need any help with that, don't hesitate to get in touch with me.